Hello boys and girls. So as you're probably aware, I'm making a documentary with Richard Willett of Brick in the Wall Media called Plugged In, which is about, well, it was originally about the dangers of excessive social media usage and its potential damaging effects on mental health, but particularly of young people, particularly of people with less life experience, weaker boundaries, and a higher impressionability. And our intent when we set out was to say, hey, excessive use of this might make you feel anxious. It might end up making you feel depressed. And this may contribute to the explosion, or maybe a contributing factor in the explosion we're seeing of young people's mental health issues, and particularly of teen suicide. I mean, we know that there is a correlation between the increase in teen suicide and the use of social media. That was the original intent. And then we have different people that we're interviewing, different psychologists and people who are experts on social media. But the first interview we did was with Sam Vaknin. And as soon as we did that, and we got it shot and we got it in the bag, we found that the scope of the issue that we were looking at was much, much broader. Sam presents a horrifying vision of social media and makes a very convincing case that it is deliberately and consciously designed to provoke the most repellent and abhorrent emotions in human nature to fulfill its ends, to fulfill its, social media's, capitalist ends. Social media stocks have more value the more eyeballs are on the page for the longer period of time. And the way to captivate the most amount of eyeballs on the page for the longest period of time is to invoke anxiety, is to invoke rage, is to invoke the negative elements of envy that make you not want to healthily compete and model the person you're envious of and do what they're doing, but actually you just loathe and impotently rage against this person who has things that you feel you're entitled to, but you're being denied. So that then means the implications for this are huge. It would mean that we're probably, because I'm totally convinced by it. If you're interested in seeing the interview, the link is on the Plugged In documentary Facebook page. It's a full hour-and-a-half long interview. You've got to strap yourself in for it. It means that it's well within the realms of possibility that we will see large class action lawsuits against social media companies, because it's provable that they've done this deliberately, and it's provable that they've done it despite knowing that they're increasing social isolation. Yes, social media increases social isolation, which increases loneliness, which increases depression, which increases rates of suicide. It wouldn't be true to say that it rewards cyberbullying, but it provides an environment in which you are conditioned. Sam presents the case that we're not actually addicted to social media, that what we've undergone is worse than an addicting process, but rather a conditioning process. And he describes the difference in the interview in the link below. We're conditioned to think in a way, and to feel in a way, and to operate in a way, and use social media in a way that, if not encouraging cyberbullying, permits it and rewards it, because it provokes an us versus them scenario. The implications of this I found horrifying. It doesn't just mean, the clicks and bells and whistles of social media, it's inducing like in a bite-sized chunk, low concentration, low resilience, ADHD style of interaction with other human beings into reality because it's too much stimulation, but it's really only affecting young people. To actually going, no, this is corrupting and perverting the whole social construct in which we live. It's damaging the whole, the way in which we communicate with one another, the way in which we think about the world, and it's actually breeding a very, very, very malignant broad-scale effect. So we've gone from saying too much social media is not good for kids, reduce it from 5 hours a day to 45 minutes a day, everything's going to be okay, to sort of saying, well, now we're not really saying anything, we're just going to present the case, we're just going to go, this is what it is, make of it what you will. I am, through the interview with Sam, in 90 minutes, I'm 1000% convinced it is a deliberately constructed, emotionally violent, dehumanizing, anti-humanity environment. And you could say, well, no, sometimes it's cat videos. And I would say, yes, it is. I mean, there is this element of it which is benign. You can share baby photos with family and friends who are in different places in the world, and that's great. I love all that. You know, you can share interest. There's still good elements to it. But the fundamentals of what social media is, in its core, in the machinery, in the source code, is malignancy. And it's done deliberately for profit, for gain, to maintain stock value. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, I'm sure that nothing will convince you to delete social media and to switch from a smartphone to a dumb phone faster, check the link below. That's on our Plugged In Documentary Facebook page. If you want to keep up with the progress of the documentary and which direction it's going in, then like that page and you can follow us there. Many people have been saying, hey, you're promoting this through social media. Well, yes, because that's the best way of getting the job done. And we're going to use social media to warn people about social media. We're going to use the virus as a way of creating an antivirus vaccine. And Sam also presents the case that this is probably inevitable. It's probably inevitable that the virus that is social media will be self-limiting. And what he says is that us making this documentary is actually one of many people are coming to this same conclusion. We're not alone in this. It's many examples of a self-limiting effect that actually, whether we make the documentary or not, it's highly likely that social media usage will be curtailed quite dramatically in the near future, because everybody's realizing that this thing that we thought was cute and fine and funny actually is pretty dark and pretty sinister. So that's why we're using social media, to get people off social media, and I believe it will work. But the main thrust of this really is to help young people. Help them to understand that the way they feel is not normal. The way they feel is not their fault. The way they feel is not, they shouldn't feel like this is okay and this is baseline and this is the normality of the way the rest of the world feels. No, it isn't. The way you feel when you're feeling anxious and depressed and jealous and caught up in trying to look good and trying to promote the brand of who you are all the time, that's not normal. And you don't have to live like that. That is a indoctrinated, brainwashed way of doing things, and it's only a question of undoing that brainwashing and breaking that conditioning, and then you can stop and regain some freedom. And hopefully this will improve the mental health of young people and reduce their confusion and anxiety that they're clearly going through right now. So that's the intent. As ever, thank you for your time and your attention. If you're interested in seeing that interview in full, hit the link below and check it out. Thank you.